Yeah, I agree with you as far as it being a tough matchup, especially with Elliott and Pollard, like you pointed out. Detroit's run defense, I mean, just as bad as the rest of the defense. They're allowing over 167 yards per game. They've given up the second most rushing touchdowns in the league at 10. The last time we saw the Lions defense, your fantasy running back, who you traded to me, is now my fantasy running back, Ramondre Stevenson, had 161 yards on 25 carries. They've allowed back-to-back 100-yard rushers. And you're talking exactly like we were talking about with Ezekiel Elliott, who's being pushed by Tony Pollard. Last week, Elliott against the decent Eagles defense had 13 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. So if they don't even need Dak for this one, it seems like. If they just focus on the ground game, they're going to be able to punish the Lions enough that they can just beat us on that.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, they might not need Dak. The Patriots didn't need Mac Jones. They need Bailey Zappi to come in here and put up, 22 points. 7 came from the one the defense scored. So, don't give those points to Bailey Zappi. But the Patriots came in and beat the Lions, shut the Lions out. They had a third-string quarterback. Geno Smith wasn't supposed to be the starter for the Seahawks, and he's looked really good this year. But his coming-out party was kind of against the Lions, where he torched them. So it's like, even if Dak Prescott wasn't playing, I don't think I'd pick the Lions to win this game. Would you?
No, I wouldn't, just because of how bad the defense has been for the Lions, and then on the other side, how good the Cowboys' defense has been and how good they've been at disrupting what other teams' offenses want to do and getting to the quarterback. I understand the Lions' offensive line has been pretty good, but that defense that Dallas has been bringing, led by Micah Parsons, has been very disruptive, and we've seen how Goff reacts when he gets disrupted. He throws into double, triple coverage, gives up those interceptions, those pick sixes, and like Dallas, between defense and running the game alone, it has enough to beat the Lions right now.
Yeah, I mean, so Dallas is a team that I've actually thought was pretty good for 3 or 4 years, but they're always worse than I think they're going to be. I think even on one of our Sports Carnage years, I picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they ended up making the playoffs that year. So this could just be a case of bias of a team that I've always felt was at least decent, at least good. But they're certainly better than the Lions, and I think it will be a sad Sunday in Detroit after having kind of the bye week this Saturday. Whether you're going to, I'm going to the Cider Mill personally, with Michigan and Michigan State having their bye week, and then they play, next Saturday. But, so you'll have a pretty relaxing Saturday probably, and then when Sunday comes around, it'll be time to pay the piper. You got Lions free last week, and they're right back at it, breaking your heart.
The chance the Lions have is DeAndre Swift. If DeAndre Swift comes back, he gives the Lions some ability to fight back against this Dallas defense. Because if there is a weakness on the Cowboy defense, it is the running game. They've allowed 120 yards per game. And, Swift, before the injury, he has 308 yards and a couple touchdowns. So if he can play, he can have that success. The Lions offense, we've seen the numbers this year. They're second most in yards at over 410 a game. They're third most in points at 28 per game. That includes the shutout that happened. But you need guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and especially DeAndre Swift to be involved. Jamal Williams is a heck of a number 2, but he's still not a number 1. And DeAndre Swift, when he is healthy, has proven to be a number 1. The Lions are going to need him to have any chance to fight back against the Cowboys this week on the road in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, Swift, I guess the only thing there would be, you're asking Swift to come back and essentially be 100%. Because it's still a good Cowboys defense. I know that they're not so great against the run, but it's not like DeAndre Swift is out here getting 15 carries a game anyway. Even when he was healthy, they were splitting him, at least in the run game, and then letting DeAndre Swift get a lot of the passing work where he's able to do a lot of his damage. I don't have his yards, pulled up in front of me, yards from scrimmage against, just his raw rushing yards. From just eyeballing it, my guess would be it's probably close to 50-50. Running yards still probably does have the advantage, but, I mean, Swift does a lot of his work in the passing game, and Jamal Williams has been good as a number 2. The question is really just how healthy is DeAndre Swift, because even, again, leading up to this week, he didn't sound like he was certain he was playing. It was sort of like, hey, that's my goal to play, essentially, right. Which, again, isn't the most confidence that you can have in, your running back saying, yeah, I'm ready to go. But I think what it kind of clearly shows is that he's not going to be 100%.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, I'm hoping he's healthy enough to play because at least that throws a wrinkle into it. If you're just relying on Jamal Williams and obviously Justin Jackson and Craig Reynolds as well, but having Swift involved makes a difference, I think, and at least makes the Cowboys have to pay attention to him when he's in. It might open some things up for Jamal Williams later in the game. It's just a better chance for the Lions to fight back, and they're going to need everything they can get because Dallas's defensive unit is no joke. Their offensive line has, that's the fun part for me to watch is going to be, we're hearing about new things they're trying on the defensive side of the ball for the Lions as far as Aiden Hutchinson and stuff, and now you're going to go up against a Dallas offensive line where they've had 2 weeks to get ready thanks to the bye week and try to implement something to show that there is improvement and growth on this defense. Obviously the injuries have been terrible. Josh Paschal hasn't played a game yet, so getting guys like that back into the mix should open things up a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball for the Lions as well. But you can't be expecting to go from one end to the other just like that, even with getting all your guys healthy, and they're still not 100% healthy. But I'm hoping to see a little bit of improvement, having 2 weeks to get ready for Dallas and getting some healthy bodies back on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, health is a big factor, certainly for the defense. It'll be nice to get Aiden Hutchinson back after not playing since week 2.
Yeah, and I mean, the other side, like we talked about, you need Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong. It's going to be a tall task. And then and then in the secondary, Trevon Diggs. And yes, Diggs does give up a lot, but he also takes a lot. And depending on the quarterback, and in this case, it's Goff, who likes to throw into double and triple coverage sometimes. Diggs might be, feasting. He's kind of a feast or famine guy. He might be feasting this Sunday, especially if the pressure's getting to Goff and Goff's just throwing it up there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good call out, and that's actually a place where the Lions can take advantage because kind of say what you want about Jared Goff. One thing he's been able to do this year is, put up yards, and some of those big passing plays can happen if, if they're targeting Trayvon Diggs and if he messes up, essentially, right? If he's on Amon-Ra St. Brown and then Amon-Ra is able to fool him on just kind of on like a hitch route or something, right? He fakes he's going inside, and then he just takes the top off deep. That is where you can expose, Diggs, and if you expose him there, usually it's a big play because he kind of takes himself out of the play. I just made the Aiden Hutchinson joke, and Diggs does sort of the same thing in the secondary where he has more booms and usually more interceptions than I think what we've seen Hutchinson with the sacks. But in terms of just like taking yourself out of the play, if he runs it and that's not where the ball is going, then he is not in any position to defend the passer or get back and make a tackle, make a play. And that is a spot where Dallas's defense is susceptible, and the Lions can obviously take advantage with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Even with T.J. Hockenson, although I don't imagine Hockenson's going to be matched up with Diggs, so many times. But Chark or St. Brown, I think it's an opportunity for the Lions to get some quick points and get some big plays. And if they want to win this game, I think they'll have to have a couple of those chunk plays because I don't know that Dallas's defense is going to be very forgiving.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to start fast. I mean, you got to take advantage of the fact that this is, Dak's first game back. He might be a little rusty in that first quarter. Some of his throws might be a little bit off target from what he's used to. So you got to start fast for the Lions. And to me, the way to start fast is to establish the run game so that it opens up a play action game and a passing game that you can start kind of, getting Dallas to kind of gear up to stop the run, and now you faked it and you've thrown one on them. It's in my mind, and I know absolutely nothing about football, just looking at what I've seen about these two teams, it looks like that'd be the smart way to go about it, is to establish that run and then use it to get the play action involved, and take advantage of the fact that Dak might be a little rusty to start, might not be able to answer touchdown for touchdown, might be getting a couple field goal tries in there instead, and maybe be able to actually, fight the Cowboys off for the first half before they come back out in the second half and, beat the brakes off the Lions defense with Dak looking a little bit more like himself. It's a tall task, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you're saying bet the mortgage on Lions first half money line. I hear you.
There you go.